They sold the one thing I worked years to build, my $3,000 dream PC, just to buy my spoiled sister designer handbags. So I packed my bags and walked out. But what I did next, it shattered our whole family. Hi, my name is Jane. I'm 19 years old, and until recently I thought I had a pretty normal life. A roof over my head, a family that smiled for pictures, and a dream I poured everything into. But in one night, everything I trusted came crashing down. Before I get into it, comment where you're watching from. I'm recording this from a quiet corner of my friend's garage. Because, yeah, I don't live at home anymore. And once you hear what happened, you'll probably say I should have left a long time ago. It all started with a single knock on my bedroom door. Jane, come out here. We need to talk, Mom said. Now usually that means one of two things. 1. My younger sister Emily did something reckless again. 2. Or Dad's passive-aggressively trying to get me to be more helpful around the house. Clean up after everyone like a maid. But that night, it was neither. It was worse. Way worse. I followed Mom to the living room, where Emily sat on the couch pretending to scroll through her phone like she wasn't the center of the storm. That's when Dad hit me with it. Jane, we sold your computer. My heart dropped. You what? I blinked. That gaming setup in your room. It's gone. We needed the money, Mom said. My gaming setup? The one I spent 2 years building? The one I used for freelance design work? You sold it without telling me. Emily just smiled like this was no big deal. And then I saw the shopping bags. For Chanel. Prada. What are those? I asked, pointing. And my mom said the most unbelievable sentence I've ever heard in my life. We used the money from your PC to give your sister a well-deserved treat. I felt the air get sucked out of the room. She's had a hard year, Dad added. She failed 2 classes and got kicked off the cheer team. She needed a pick-me-up. I couldn't believe it. I built that computer piece by piece. That was my dream. Oh, come on, Jane, Mom rolled her eyes. You just sit in front of it all day. It's not like it was useful. Useful? It made me nearly $800 last month in side gigs. It was how I learned coding, video editing. It was everything. And they just sold it. For handbags. What would you have done in that moment? Let me know in the comments. Because I'll be honest, I completely froze. Then I turned to Emily. You knew how important that PC was to me, I said. And you let them do this? Emily laughed. Relax. It's just a computer. Maybe now you'll finally leave your room and get a life. That was the final straw. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just walked out. Back in my room, I grabbed a duffel bag and shoved in whatever I could. A few clothes. My backup laptop, which could barely run Google Chrome. And a hard drive with all my client work. Then I took one last look at the empty desk where my $3,000 setup once stood. It was just wires and dust now. That's when I texted someone I hadn't talked to in months. Hey, is that offer to crash at your place still open? Her name was Sarah. We used to be best friends before my family forced me to stop hanging out with her. They said she was a bad influence. Translation: she didn't take crap from anyone and called my parents out on their favoritism. She replied in seconds. Yes. Come over. I'll make up the couch. And just like that, I was gone. No goodbye. No explanation. Just silence. By the time I got to Sarah's, it was past 11 p.m. She opened the door in pajama pants and gave me the tightest hug I didn't know I needed. Tell me everything, she said. So I did. And halfway through the story, she stopped me and said something that sparked the idea that changed everything. Jane, what they did is theft. But if they're gonna treat you like you don't matter, maybe it's time you show them what happens when you're gone. That's when it clicked. I wasn't just going to move out. I was going to rebuild everything they stole from me. And I was going to make sure they finally saw me for who I really was. Now, before I tell you what I did next, I want to know, have you ever had a moment where your family crossed a line? Comment below. I'm reading all of them. And if you think this story is intense so far, just wait. Because I'll tell you how I turned my backup laptop into a full-time income machine. The anonymous message I sent my dad that made him freak out. and the unexpected betrayal that nearly broke me before my plan even started. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it, because this story is just getting started. I spent the first night at Sarah's place lying on her living room couch, staring at the ceiling, heart pounding. It didn't feel real. One minute I was Jane, the quiet girl, the invisible one, the family workhorse, and the next, I was free. But freedom doesn't mean peace. Because while I had escaped their house, I hadn't escaped the betrayal. They still had my PC, my files, my trust. That night I kept hearing Mom's voice in my head. It's not like it was useful. So the next morning I got up early, made coffee, and stared at my dying backup laptop. Its screen flickered like it was gasping for air. Still, I plugged in my hard drive, opened my freelance portfolio, and took a deep breath. Time to rebuild, I whispered. Now here's a little secret not even my family knew. That PC I built? Yeah, it wasn't just for gaming. I used it to edit videos, design digital ads, and run an Etsy store on the side. With it, I'd already earned over $6,000 the past year alone. And I was just getting started. But no. I had to start from scratch on a laptop that wheezed if I opened too many tabs. So I pushed through. I re-edited my Fiverr gigs, started posting on design forums again, and reconnected with a few old clients. By the end of the second day, I made $75 from a Rush logo design order. Not much, but enough to taste hope. Meanwhile, back home, silence. No texts. No calls. Just crickets. They didn't even bother to ask if I was safe. That's when Sarah turned to me and said, "Girl, you need to stop waiting for them to care. It's time they felt your absence." And I knew she was right, so I did something bold. I logged into my old shared Google account, the one Dad used to track family finances, documents, etc. And I left a message in the shared notepad. Hope the handbags were worth it. You sold $3,000 worth of hardware. You might want to check what else you just lost. Jane. Then I logged out. Would you have sent a message like that? Or just disappeared completely? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious what kind of person you are. Less than 20 minutes later, my phone started ringing. I didn't answer. Then came a flurry of texts. What do you mean? Jane, where are you? What did you do? Oh, now they cared? I smiled. And didn't respond. Let them sit in that silence. But things didn't stay quiet for long. By the weekend, my cousin Kayla messaged me on Instagram. Your mom's freaking out, she wrote. She said something about Jane sabotaging the family accounts. What's going on? I didn't respond right away. But the truth? I hadn't touched a single account. Yet. I just knew my parents were scrambling. Because for the first time they couldn't control me. Couldn't guilt me. Couldn't gaslight me. They had no idea where I was or what I was doing. And that terrified them. Now here's where things got weird. That same night, Emily, the golden child herself, DM'd me. And guess what she said? Can you please stop being dramatic? Mom and Dad are losing it. You got your stupid revenge. Now come home already. Stupid revenge? I stared at the message and laughed out loud. You thought this was about revenge? Oh, sweetie. This was accountability. So I replied with just 3 words. You'll see soon. That weekend, Sarah took me to this co-working cafe where creators hung out. She introduced me to a few friends, filmmakers, designers, streamers. And for the first time in years, I felt something I never got at home. Belonging. One guy named Leo saw me editing on my dying laptop and said, "Girl, that thing's a fossil. You need an upgrade." I told him my story about the PC, my parents, everything. He listened. And then he said, "You know, I'm selling one of my old rigs. Not new, but solid for editing. $500. I barely had $120 in my account. But when I told Sarah, she said something that made me choke up. "I'll cover it. You can pay me back when you're rich." I didn't know what to say. No one had ever believed in me like that. Not even my own parents. With Leo's old PC and a fresh fire in my chest, I got to work. By week 2, I launched a YouTube channel sharing digital design tutorials. By week 3, I had over 400 subscribers. By week 4, one of my Etsy prints went viral on Pinterest. And I made $320 in one night. Every dollar I made felt like a middle finger to the people who told me my work wasn't useful. Then it happened. On a random Wednesday evening, I got a voicemail from Dad. His voice was shaking. Please. Your mom's a mess. We didn't think you'd take it this far. Just come home. We'll get you a new computer. Emily will return some of the stuff. We didn't know you'd turn this into a war. A war? I wasn't at war. I was healing. And they were just mad they couldn't control it. So here's my question to you. If you were me, would you go back? Would you forgive them just like that? Because as much as I wanted to say yes, I knew something didn't feel right. And very soon you'll see exactly why. Because just when I thought I had the upper hand, Emily pulled something that made everything worse. And this time, it wasn't just about a PC. It was about betrayal, exposure, and revenge I never saw coming. Make sure you subscribe because what happens next changes everything. Remember that voicemail from my dad? The one where he said Emily would return some of the stuff? That they'd make it right? Yeah. I wanted to believe it. I wanted to believe they realized they'd crossed a line. But deep down I knew better. Especially when Emily was involved. Still, for a split second I thought maybe there was a chance we could fix things. That night I stood in Sarah's kitchen just staring at my phone, playing his message on repeat. Then I made a mistake. A mistake that would blow everything up. I responded, "If you're serious about making things right, show me. I want the receipts. I want the apology. And I want it in writing." I thought I was setting boundaries. Turns out, I was walking into a trap. The next day I woke up to chaos. Hundreds of DMs, screenshots, mentions. Apparently, Emily had posted a TikTok, a viral TikTok, about me. In it, she wore one of the designer outfits they bought with the money from my PC. She looked into the camera and said, "When your sister freaks out because you borrowed her gaming stuff and now she's homeless." She added fake crying sounds and wrote, "Pray for Jane. She's living in a garage because she can't touch grass." It had 50,000 likes. And the comments were brutal. "Elmo, she sounds dramatic AF. Girl, she did you a favor. PCs are for losers." Spoiled brat energy from the sister. Some people were on my side. But most? They thought I was the villain. Because Emily twisted the story. She made it look like I overreacted. Like I chose to run away over something petty. And worse, she tagged my freelance accounts in the comments. She was trying to ruin my income. I felt sick. I couldn't breathe. Sarah found me shaking on the couch, staring at my phone like it was made of fire. "She just declared war," Sarah said quietly. And I nodded. Because now it wasn't just about the PC. Or the betrayal. It was personal. So you know what I did? I didn't post a rant. I didn't send angry texts. I got strategic. I opened my hard drive, pulled out every photo, every video, every screenshot I had from the last 2 years. All the times they ignored me, laughed at me, used me. Photos of me fixing Emily's laptop when she broke it twice. Screenshots of texts where my mom begged me to stay home from school to babysit. Voice recordings where Dad said, "You'll never make real money on a computer, Jane." I packaged it into a video. Just under 5 minutes. And I titled it, "My family sold my dream to buy my sister's designer life." I posted it. Didn't expect much. Just needed my side out there. But within 24 hours, it exploded. People started commenting nonstop. "You are the real one." I'd disowned them, huh? "The way your sister mocked you and you stayed graceful? You're a queen." It hit 200,000 views in 2 days. And the best part? Someone from a freelance agency messaged me. They saw the video. They wanted to offer me a remote design contract. $900 per month. No interview. They said, "You've got talent. And grit. We want you." I couldn't believe it. I went from being the silent daughter no one believed in, to the girl who rebuilt her life from nothing. And inspired thousands. But guess who else saw the video? Emily. And suddenly, her TikTok? Gone. Her comments? Turned off. And then I got another message from her. "Wow. You're so dramatic. You didn't have to air our dirty laundry." I replied with just 3 words. "I learned from you." Then came the final twist. And no, I'm not exaggerating when I say this blew my mind. I got a letter in the mail. From a lawyer. My uncle. He's my dad's brother. We hadn't spoken in years. But apparently he saw the video too. And he was not impressed with my parents. He wrote, "Jane, I always saw your potential. I didn't know how badly they mistreated you. If you need help setting up your own LLC, contracts, or even a small trust, let me know. I'd be proud to help." I broke down crying. Because someone, finally, not only believed in me, but wanted to invest in me. So, where am I now? Still in Sarah's place. Still working. Still building. I haven't spoken to my parents since that last message. They've sent a few emails, mostly guilt trips. But I'm not going back. I'm not the same girl who waited for permission to be seen. I'm Jane. I design futures, starting with my own. And to anyone watching this, here's what I want to say. Don't wait for validation from people who only value your silence. Build loudly, live honestly, and walk away when respect is no longer in the room. But I want to hear from you. Have you ever had to walk away from toxic family for your own peace? Comment below. Share your story. You never know who it might help. And if you've made it this far, thank you. Seriously, this is more than just a story. It's my voice finally being heard. After my video went viral, the balance of power shifted. No more begging. No more silence. No more letting people like Emily rewrite my story. The internet knew the truth now. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't afraid of being seen. But when you expose darkness, it doesn't always sit still. 1 week after the video blew up, I got an unexpected email. It was from a girl named Haley, a complete stranger. Subject line: "You don't know me, but I know your sister." I almost deleted it, but something told me to read. And thank God I did. Because what I saw next proved that Emily's twisted behavior wasn't just a family issue. Haley's message said this: "Hi Jane. I saw your video. I know this is random, but I had to reach out. I went to college with Emily. She was my roommate for 1 semester. She bullied me. She stole my clothes. Lied to the RA to get me kicked out of housing. She made my life miserable. I dropped out that semester because of her. She included screenshots, photos, even a recording of Emily mocking her on FaceTime with friends. I sat there frozen. This wasn't just petty behavior. Emily ruined people. And then it hit me. She wasn't just mean to me because I was her sister. She was mean because she could be." So I replied, "Thank you for reaching out. Would you be okay if I shared your story? Anonymously?" He said yes. And that's when I had an idea. A way to finally hold Emily accountable, not with rage but with receipts. I reached out to 3 other girls who had interacted with Emily over the years. One from high school. One from her old internship. One who worked retail and said Emily once screamed at her over a return policy. Every single one of them said the same thing. She acted perfect in public. But behind closed doors, she was a nightmare. So I made a second video. This time it wasn't just about me. It was titled, "What Happens When Entitlement Goes Unchecked? The Truth About My Sister." I blurred names and faces, but the stories were real. And the internet lost its mind. Comments poured in. "She needs therapy, not another shopping spree. Now I understand why Jane walked away. This is why holding people accountable matters." And best of all, one of Emily's brand deals, some fashion startup she repped on Instagram, dropped her. They released a statement. "We do not tolerate bullying or abusive behavior. Effective immediately, our partnership with Emily, last name blurred, is terminated." The fallout hit fast. Mom tried to call me. Dad emailed me with a subject line that just read, "You've gone too far." Too far? For telling the truth? For defending myself after years of being their emotional punching bag? I didn't even reply. I let the silence speak for me. But here's the plot twist no one saw coming. The day after that second video dropped, I got a message from someone I never expected. My grandma. We weren't close. Mostly because my mom kept her distant. Said she was too old-fashioned and always took Jane's side. Grandma wrote, "Jane, I saw what you posted. And I cried. Not because you embarrassed the family, but because you had to survive that kind of family. I'm so proud of you for standing tall. I've decided to revise my will. You'll be hearing from my lawyer soon. I nearly dropped my phone. Not because I cared about the money, but because for once an elder in my family saw me, respected me, believed me, and was willing to act on it. Now let's pause for a second. What would you do at this point? Would you forgive your family? Or keep your distance for good? Let me know in the comments. I want to hear your take. Because honestly, I was torn. Part of me still felt guilty. That little voice inside said, what if you're being too harsh? What if they really do want to change? But then, reality came crashing back. Because I got one last message from Emily. A voice memo. No apologies. No remorse. Just this. I hope you're happy, Jane. You ruined everything. I lost followers, brand deals, friends. And for what? Because you were jealous I got more attention? You'll always be the bitter little sister in the shadows. That's when I knew. She hadn't learned a thing. So I made a final post. A short video. No drama. No background music. Just me. Looking into the camera, I said, to anyone who's ever been the quiet one in a toxic family, you're allowed to leave. You're allowed to tell your truth. And you don't owe loyalty to people who feed on your silence. That was it. That's all I needed to say. And it reached over 2 million views in 3 days. Today, I've moved into my own small studio apartment. I have consistent freelance income. My Etsy store just passed $10,000 in lifetime sales. And I've started mentoring other young designers who feel lost like I once did. As for my family, they still haven't apologized. They just pretend I don't exist. And you know what? That's fine. Because I don't need them to validate me. I've built my own identity. One honest piece at a time. But don't go anywhere yet. Because I'll share the shocking thing my grandma did that completely shifted our family legacy. And why my sister might be about to lose a lot more than brand deals. Subscribe so you don't miss out. Because next time, it's not just about revenge. It's about redemption. Have you ever felt a moment so quiet, so that you knew deep down your life was about to change? That was me, sitting alone in my tiny apartment, holding a legal envelope with my name on it, from my grandmother's lawyer. Now before I tell you what was inside, let me back up, because this story isn't about revenge anymore. It's about restoration. It's about legacy, and how one woman, who barely had a voice in my family, finally used hers to shatter everything we thought was permanent. After my last video, the dust started to settle. Emily had gone quiet. My parents were ghosting the internet. And I was finally starting to breathe. My Etsy store was growing. My design clients were increasing. I was even saving money for a better place. But something still lingered. That feeling of unfinished business. That the final chapter hadn't been written. And then I got the call. Hi Jane, this is Carol Bennett, your grandmother's attorney. She's asked me to deliver something to you. It's important. The next day the envelope arrived. And I'll never forget what I read. It was a new version of my grandmother's will. Typed, signed, notarized. And in it she made 3 critical changes. 1. She removed my parents as co-beneficiaries of her estate. 2. She designated me as the primary heir of her design workshop. A charming little property she'd owned since the 80s, now worth nearly 6 figures. 3. And she included a personal letter. Handwritten. Here's what it said. Jane, I've watched you grow up quiet, gifted, and overlooked. I regret not stepping in sooner. But I see you now. And I'm proud of the woman you've become. This workshop was where I built my dreams. I want it to be where you build yours. Do with it what I couldn't. Build something that outlives the noise. I read it over and over. Tears soaked the page. Because this was the kind of love I never thought I'd receive. The workshop was about 45 minutes from my apartment. Dusty, worn, but beautiful in that way old spaces are, full of stories. And for the first time in my life, I had a space that was mine. No yelling in the background. No slammed doors. No gaslighting. Just me. My tools. My future. But you already know. Peace never comes without disruption in this family. Because just 2 days later my mom showed up. Uninvited. I was in the workshop unpacking when I heard the tires crunch on the gravel. Then a knock on the old wood door. I opened it, and there she was. Hair perfectly styled. Designer purse in hand. But her face. Tired. Tight. On the edge. "Can we talk?" she asked. I hesitated. Everything in me wanted to slam the door. But some part of me needed closure. So I nodded. And we sat on the porch. She started with small talk. Avoiding the obvious. Then she said something that stunned me. "Your grandmother told me what she did. She said you earned it. That I failed you." I stayed quiet. Let her sit in the silence. And then she broke. "I was jealous, Jane. Of how focused you were. Of how close you were with Grandma. And when you started making money from your designs, I felt like you were slipping away. Like I didn't matter anymore." That was the first honest thing I'd heard from her in years. It wasn't an apology. It was an explanation. A justification. So I asked, "Do you regret selling my PC?" She looked away. Didn't answer. "Do you regret raising a daughter who thinks she can destroy people online and face no consequences?" Her jaw clenched. She stood. "You'll understand when you have kids. Family is complicated." And that's when I knew. She didn't come to heal. She came to control the narrative. So I stood too. And I said, "This workshop? This is a gift. But not the kind you take. It's the kind you honor. And I won't dishonor Grandma by letting you rewrite the story." Then I walked back inside. Closed the door. And for the first time in my life, felt free. Quick pause here. Would you have let your mom in? Or told her to leave the second she showed up? Let me know in the comments. Seriously, I want to hear what you would have done. So where does that leave things? My sister is still offline. My parents are still pretending I'm the villain. But I'm not focused on them anymore. I'm renovating the workshop. I'm building it into a studio where young artists can come learn, work, and grow. I've already hosted 2 local workshops for teen girls. And one of them told me, "You're like what I want to be when I grow up." That broke me in the best way. Because I used to be the girl who felt invisible. Now, I'm helping others feel seen. It was a quiet Thursday morning. I was sanding down a workbench in my grandmother's old workshop. Now my design studio. The sun was pouring in through the window. And for once my mind felt calm. Until I got the text. From a number I hadn't saved. "Can we talk? It's Emily." My chest tightened. I stared at the screen. Part of me wanted to ignore it. Block her. Forget she existed. But something told me, this was different. 2 hours later she showed up. No designer bag. No makeup. No camera-ready smile. Emily. Raw. Unpolished. And quiet. I stepped outside. She looked nervous. "Thanks for not slamming the door in my face," she muttered. I said nothing. Just motioned toward the bench on the porch. She sat. So did I. And then finally she spoke. "You ruined me." Not exactly the opening I expected. But I didn't flinch. "You ruined me online," she continued. "I lost everything. Brains. Friends. Even Mom won't talk to me unless I fix this." I let her talk. Because that's what she was used to, talking at people, not with them. But then she did something that caught me off guard. She cried. Not dramatic tears. Not crocodile ones. Raw. Ugly crying. "I used to think you were jealous of me," she said. "But now I realize. I was always jealous of you. You had peace. Talent. People liked you without you trying. And Mom always pushed me to outshine you. I thought if I could be the center of attention, maybe I'd finally be enough." She paused. Wiped her face. Then looked me dead in the eyes. "I hurt you. I humiliated you. I sold what you loved most. And even after that, you didn't try to destroy me. You told the truth. And the truth exposed me." For the first time in years, Emily finally understood. She wasn't invincible. She wasn't the victim. And she wasn't above consequences. Then she asked the question I never thought I'd hear. "Can you forgive me?" I looked at her. Really looked. Not as the sister who mocked me. Not as the girl who screamed over clothes and phones. Not as the reason my childhood felt hollow. But as a broken person. Like I had been. Just in a different way. And I said this. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. It means I stop letting your choices control my peace. So yes, I forgive you, but I won't forget. And I won't invite you back into my life, unless you earn it. She nodded, didn't argue, and then, she pulled something out of her bag. It was a small black box. I sold your PC, she said. But I kept this. I was going to pawn it. But I couldn't. I opened the box. And inside was my PC's custom-designed power button casing. I had 3D printed it myself. It was the first thing I ever made that I was truly proud of. She handed it to me and said, I don't deserve your trust, but I hope one day I can earn it back. Then she stood, walked away, and didn't look back. I sat there, holding the small plastic piece, and for the first time in a long time, I cried, not out of pain, but out of release, because that chapter, it was finally closed. So, where am I now?